Listen. Oh, it's good. I love the crack. There. That medium. First time on a game up stuff. We really need a tutorial on the tablet. We better have it. So, play. Hopefully that will disappear. We'll be getting enough stream health. Hopefully. It looks pretty smooth.
Welcome to the beautiful Vagar Airport, situated on the Faroe Islands. In this tutorial, you'll learn everything you need to know about the tablet.
I would
The
put
tablet
the
is an
screen's just
important
grey.
part of the gameplay, as it's your primary source of information. It features...
Oh my god. Okay, some settings need to be changed. Wow. Motion blur is off, but yet we still got it. Medium. We'll try that. It's a bit better, right? Tab.
In the first tab from the left, named Operations, you'll discover and find all data about incoming and outgoing flights you're due to handle.
Sorry guys, I'm trying to do like 6 things at once. Let's have a look. Right, so in the first tab, national operations, you'll be discovering all. Fuck off. You'll be discovering all about incoming and outgoing flights due to handle. Good.
In the Map tab, as the name suggests, there's a map of the airport displaying your current position
I'm
and
glad
all
it told me
available
that,
vehicles
otherwise I'd
and
never
aircraft
figured
to
that
be
out.
used.
However, it won't let me use it. Tablet.
And in the final tab named Weather, you'll find all the options available. We shall discuss each of these tabs in detail. The screen is divided into 2 columns. The left-hand side acts as a timetable for all flights that are scheduled to take place at the airport. At the top, there's a button that filters the flights and shows only... Each flight is displayed in an ordered grid where all the information... The right-hand side displays a list of tasks you'll have to complete. To view the tasks are arranged in the order in which they should be completed. When you complete an action, it will be crossed. Now we'll head to the Map tab.
Map.
Whilst at Vagar, you won't need the map too much. However, at large, the map features will show you the quickest route to your destination, and in addition, the location of available airport vehicles, aircraft, pretty much everything to help navigate. To zoom in, to rotate the view, use the controls displayed on screen. The GPS view is always centered on your position and rotates.
all
that
crap.
two different clocks at the
Yeah.
UTC time. Below the clocks, you'll find a slider that allows you to manipulate the time. And under the slider, you'll find a calendar where you can select any date. Try the apply button at the very bottom. Using the slider,
Yeah.
on the left there is a visualization of the cloud height. The upper line, adjustments of weather.
Good, right, okay.
Good job. You've now learned how to use...
Oh, I'm glad about that. I'm glad about that. Little station, hey. Just learn how to do the follow me. Basically. I can work it out. You get in a car, you put follow me on the front, and the plane follows you. Not exactly rocket science, is it?
Now, you'll learn about one of the most essential vehicles contributing to the everyday function of an airport. The
Not meant to have
Follow
motion
Me
blur, but
vehicle.
we've got motion blur.
Its general purpose is to guide aircraft to designated parking gates or specific areas of the airport safely.
Why it's known as
It's
the Marshals.
used when arriving pilots are unfamiliar with the airport or when the aircraft requires special support during taxiing.
Very good.
We will be using the black and yellow checkered Follow Me vehicle parked at the vehicle.
Let me just lower. Make my game look a bit crap, but I'll just go into low mode.
An inbound
Might help.
aircraft will be arriving soon, and I have received information that the crew has requested Follow Me support. Start the vehicle and activate its warning lights. Open the tablet and switch to the Map tab. You will see the route to meet the aircraft at the designated taxiway intersection.
Yeah,
Remember
6
that
miles
every
away.
aircraft moving on the apron has priority on taxiways and intersections. Right, now I'll explain step by step what you need to do. Position yourself in front of the plane so that the back of your vehicle is facing the aircraft's nose. Now, you need to activate the Follow Me sign on the roof of your vehicle so that the pilot knows to follow you. Follow the instructions displayed on screen.
Okay.
Great! Now follow the map's marked directions to the parking area assigned to the aircraft. Maintain a speed of about 30 kilometers an hour. Stay within sight of the pilots and do not stray too far from the aircraft. The distance between you and the aircraft should never be less than 100 meters or more than 250 meters. If you need the aircraft to stop suddenly, press the display button which activates the stop sign on the vehicle display.
Drive across this active taxiway. Not necessarily follow me from this distance. It's moving on screen, it's not to move. Yeah, it's dropping loads of frames. See if it's any better if I do it as a, just bear with me, as a game capture instead. Might be a bit better. I think this plane stopped. Oh yeah, it has. It's just all of a sudden sped up as well. But my mirrors aren't very good. No, YouTube's not receiving enough. That looks a bit better. Just trying to watch the stream at the same time to make sure that it is actually streaming it properly. Because there's no point me doing it if it doesn't want to stream it properly. You get my gist? But I'm not doing capture. I'm doing it from actually PC on PC, so it's rendering it twice. It's a bit not the best. Come on, plane, you need to hurry up here. This is the world's longest follow me's. I know they do follow me, but not normally this far. Normally they find the way into near the terminal by charts, and then after that they get followed me onto the stand. And this plane taxis very slowly. I've seen quicker taxiing planes, let's put it that way. The KLM crews at the airport taxi quite quick. You know, you don't get in front of one of them because you know they'll squish you before they can stop.
Great. The pilot can already identify their parking area thanks to your guidance. Drive to the end and park on the service road in the designated area.
And you wouldn't be driving over the stand because the stand would have been checked for FOD.
You have just learned how to perform a general follow-me procedure. In any case, you'll have to be constantly conscious of the traffic of other aircraft on the airport apron and triple check which stand you need to bring the aircraft to. later.
See you later. That's that. We've done the follow me. Marshalling. It's not the C bus, it's the coal bus 3000. It is very popular and it's massive. It's 3 meters wide. It's a big one.
In this tutorial, you will learn how to work as an aircraft marshaller. Some of the gates are equipped with an automatic visual docking guidance system, or AVDGS, which, just like a marshaller, except digital, also guides an aircraft correctly into parking gates. The remaining stands that do not have this system are handled by a member of ground crew to marshal aircraft in. The goal is for the marshaller to assist the pilot in accurately manoeuvring the aircraft onto the correct parking tee.
I'm glad you told us about that.
The cockpit crew sit above the main wheel of the aircraft and don't have clear visibility to provide an exact idea of its location. So it's crucial this process is accurately managed from the outside to result in the most correct parking position, allowing equipment such as jetways to properly and safely connect to the aircraft. As you can see, the correct points or parking tees are marked on the central line where the aircraft is supposed to park. Each aircraft should stop with its front wheel on the line. At Vagar, there are special cases where the lines are painted and marked differently than usual. Pilots must make an almost 90-degree turn so that the ground markings are visible correctly when they approach the stand head-on, and the lines are marked by perpendicular lines or lines that mark the end or beginning of a turn. Each gate is marked by a white or red line. No objects or vehicles should be present within their range unless the gate is specifically not in use. As you can see at the first stand, there are cones lying there. Your task is to clear the stand and move them to a safe place. We have a designated area where you must carry the cones to.
Zoom this area. The last plane wouldn't have gone out if there was a load of cones here, so there. Hold on.
An aircraft is already approaching the stand. Take up position by the stand, following the information displayed on the screen. The aircraft has now positioned itself at the base of the stand. Guide it to the second tee, which is highlighted. Remember that the parked aircraft's front wheels must be on the line, and the aircraft itself should be as parallel to it as possible. Follow the controls displayed on screen to guide the aircraft.
Not quite
Great!
the movement.
You have just learned how to marshal an aircraft onto a stand safely and accurately. See you next time.
Didn't really need a tutorial for that. Did we? Really? Chocks and cones. Don't think we need that. GPU. We'll go with the GPU though. Don't think we need a lesson on how to put some cones down.
Now, I'll teach you how to operate a ground power unit, which is known as GPU in aviation jargon. You're probably wondering, what exactly does the GPU do?
Now I'm wondering where the dock safe is.
Besides what its name gives away, let me explain that to you. After landing, the aircraft generates... Oh, there's already an
Yeah, I know all that.
Before you start, you need to connect the GPU to the tow hook of the tug so that you can transport it. It's quite simple. You need to back up the tug so that then get out of the tug.
We need to get in the tug. Need to do it, Yuri. I don't see him doing this at Manchester Airport either, but you know, we'll gloss over this fact, right?
Great. Just remember that you hook and unhook other trailers in the same way. Hop back in the tug and head over to the aircraft as indicated.
They would actually do a brake test.
Now, detach the GPU from the tug and go to the rear side of it, where you'll need to open the hatch revealing the control panel. Show you the generator startup sequence.
Oh god.
You'll operate it using the controls displayed on the screen as we go.
Something to remember this, isn't it?
Toggle the power on button. This will activate the generator battery. Now you'll need to hold down the engine start button for approximately 3 seconds until the engine starts. Now we have to wait 30 seconds until the engine heats up and the oil temperature reaches 80 degrees Celsius.
I can just plug it into the jet
go
bridge.
to the nose of the aircraft and open the hatch where the connector is located. Great. Now on the side of the GPU, there's a slot containing a cable. You need to pick up the cable and plug it into the aircraft's power socket. To pick up the cable, follow the action displayed on screen. Connect the cable to the aircraft's power socket. Perfect. Now go back to the panel and switch the engine setting knob from idle to run. Then press the DC output button to the on position. Now notify the cockpit crew through the communication panel that they can turn off the APU and switch to GPU power. Open this panel using the controls displayed on screen. Navigate to the flight deck option, then APU, and then turn off the APU. Great! Now the aircraft is powered only by the GPU, and the rest of the ground crew and the aircraft crew can continue with their work.
Woo.
Now it's time to teach you how to disconnect an aircraft's ground power prior to departure. Obviously, we can't just unplug the cable and leave the crew without power. When you finish all your other, we'll teach you how to approach the aircraft from the side. Your task now is to notify the cockpit crew that they may start the APU. To do this, open the communication. Select flight deck. Great, the crew has just started. Go to the back of the aircraft, specifically under its tail, and listen to the APU's startup sequence. If you want to, remove your protective headphones using the displayed button. In the task table, you'll
wait for APU to start. Used to being deafened by them. Go round the wing. That might be an idea. What's this thing doing? Had a mind of its own. Yeah, in reality, it just gets
Congratulations!
dumped.
You've just learned how to operate the Jeep.
Alright.
See you later.
See you later. Time is it? Okay. 27 minutes. Passenger stairs easy. Catering easy. Shuttle bus. Jetway, I'm sure we can work that out. Luggage, I'm sure we can work that out. That fueling will be the difficult ones. Let's do fueling. Let's try that. It's jumping again in the stream. I think I'm actually going to leave it there then, if the stream's jumping again.
Hello there. In this tutorial, you'll learn how to handle refueling a 737 MAX 8. Refueling an aircraft is one of the most dangerous tasks performed on an airport's apron. The hazard of fire, spills, and other dangers are high, so you must follow many safety rules. But don't worry, I will explain everything to you.
Bollocks.
An aircraft is standing at the stand, with a planned departure very soon. Your task is to refuel the appropriate amount of fuel and ensure that the tanks are properly balanced. Get into the tanker truck and drive it to the vicinity of the indicated aircraft.
Will do.
Remember, under no circumstances should you turn off the engine in the tanker when refueling. There is an important reason for this, namely, in the event of a fire, you must quickly move the tanker away from the aircraft and the terminal to prevent a potential disaster.
Well, if the fueling wagon's going up, it's a disaster already.
Okay, jump out of the cab and then open the door to the tanker's fuel compartment. Now you'll need to protect yourself and the aircraft from possible sparks by connecting the grounding cable. Grab the grounding cable on the left side of the container. To connect the grounding cable, go to the aircraft's rear wheel and follow the actions displayed on the screen. Then open the flap on the aircraft wing to prepare for connecting the fuel hose. Approach the tanker, grab the fuel hose and pull it under the wing and connect it to the inlet.
And at some point they would give you a step ladder.
Great. Now check the tablet for the amount of fuel you'll need to refuel the aircraft. Go to the Operations
1200
tab.
kilo.
Select the aircraft that you need to refuel. In the task table, you will see the amount of fuel you need to refuel. Then go to the aircraft's refueling panel. Okay, now I'll explain how to operate the fuel panel.
Oh, this should be
The
riveting.
panel is divided into 3 columns and 3 rows, where each
And
is
in reality,
assigned
it
to its
lines the
corresponding
737
fuel
MAX
tank.
probably actually does what it
Tanks
said.
1 and 2 are wing tanks, and the center tank is, as the name suggests, in the center of the aircraft between the wings. In the first row, you'll find bulbs that illuminate when the valves are open. In the second row, there are valve switches which can be set to open and closed. The third row contains the fuel quantity selector dial, the
And this
current
plane
fuel
apparently has
level
no fuel in it
indicator,
whatsoever.
and the target fuel level in kilograms. Since you already have the panel explained, we will now focus on the refueling process itself. You must distribute the amount of fuel indicated on the tablet between the 3 fuel tanks of the aircraft.
Good.
The fuel tanks in the aircraft are located inside the wings and in the central tank located between the wings. First, you refuel the wing tanks, and then you refuel the remaining amount of fuel to the central tank. You'll need to calculate how to distribute the fuel between the tanks. Each wing holds 3.9 tons of fuel, and the central tank holds 13.1 tons. To select the amount of fuel, toggle the right side of the switch. To stop, toggle the left side of the switch.
Bit of a 3.9 tons, so we're going to put 3.9 tons in each, so fill up the wing tanks, and then the rest put in there. Make it easy. 3.8. Or even better, hang on. Get 3. That's 6. We need 6,000 kilos in this tank.
Great. Now open the valves in the wing tanks. To exit the panel view, press the button displayed on screen.
Yeah, we'll do when I've got the right amount of fuel. This is taking forever. It's 6 in it. Didn't give me a panel.
Now we only need to start the pump in the tanker by pulling the first lever from the left. You don't have to worry about overfilling, as it has an automatic fuel flow blocking system that will stop when the selected value on the computer is reached. Once the computer blocks the flow, you'll need to manually secure the valve by switching the switch to the closed position.
So what we got to do now is just wait. A lot of waiting in this fueling game. They could have sped it up the tutorial. Even just a bit would have made it better. I'm going to do this tutorial and then that will be it. At least it tells you up here that your maths is correct. I suppose that's one thing. But we got a lot of waiting around. Yeah, I'm going to do this one and then that'll be it. Waiting for some. Yeah, this is a very interesting fuel. I've never seen a fuel hose do that. And you won't leave this cable dangling along here. And in modern aviation, you don't tend to find tankers. The littler planes you might, but normally you pick them up from a grid like this. And it's just a pump. Essentially. I know it's been in the closed position. I'm waiting for it to flipping load the tank up. It's taking forever. Done.
Then open the valve for the central tank to refuel it. When finished, do the same with the other tanks and set the switch to the closed position.
Oh, beat you to that.
Great. Approach the tanker and turn off the fuel pump. Now disconnect the hose from the aircraft and return it to the tanker. Then disconnect the grounding cable, close the
I'll
panel
beat you to
flap
this
on the
completely,
aircraft's
mate.
wing and close the flap on the
I
tanker.
would have thought it had filled all 3 tanks in one go.
To confirm
And this
that you
vehicle
have
would have been
completed
chopped.
the task, use the communication panel. Open it by performing the action displayed on screen. After opening it, select the Flight Crew tab, then Fuel, and finally, confirm refueling. Great! Now you can refuel the 737 MAX 8 aircraft. You will be able to do this task on your own during work. Just remember to move the tanker to a safe location after refueling. Until next time.
Tourist menu. I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna go down and watch a bit of TV. Number 4, I think it is. Because I was dropping loads of frames.